About 10 years ago, when this idea really came out, we did not have a clue as regards how we would set up what we call the NIT. And it just so happened that one of the persons who was in the Development Corporation at the time, which was under the ministry that I ran, said he had an uncle or so who was in England. And again, I happened to be walking through London, Wood Green, and I ran into where the company was. And I went up and I saw Len Sutherland. And 10 years ago, I saw the operation, and I asked him, can he help us to set up the NIT? And I tell you something. At no cost, Len Sutherland came down. He provided all the supporting documentation. He got us certified with ICDL, with Metro, all these different type of things that I'd never heard of before. And he was able to set up the NIT, which is now the NCTI. So I want to start off by really giving Len Sutherland a real applause for that particular effort. Now, 10 years later, we've been able to bring Mr. Sutherland back. And I really want to thank the wisdom of the board, the chairman and the other members of the board, Mr. Williams, and I know some of the other members of the board left, Mr. Graves, so there. And I tell you, it's good when you have a good, solid board that thinks very private sector-like. Because in the first 7 years, it was a government department. And things were slow, I used to cringe because I come out of the private sector myself, And when we turned the NIT into the NCTI and it became a state-owned company now, we knew it had to be nimble, private sector-like. It had to make decisions very quick. And I'm really glad that the board that we have is one that understands this particular field and really makes those kind of tough decisions quickly without taking 3, 4, 5 months and having to cross every T and dot every I. But they brought back Mr. Sutherland, who within a relatively short space of time have been able to get the ABE certification and accreditation, and really the British Computer Society. And I think that has really set this thing on a particular trajectory that there is no turning back. As a matter of fact, we do have another initiative where within another few days we should have also Professor France, because we like dealing with the two continents. So Mr. Sutherland is in the UK and the gateway to Europe, and we are now looking to relate also to Professor Robert France, who's also a Vincentian, who is a professor, a doctor at the Colorado State University. And we're looking to establish links with Colorado State University so that we have the best of both worlds. And I think that the platform that we're setting up is the springboard in which to really capture that. The important thing that we have to really understand is that we are building 4 major pillars. I've mentioned to you all the regulatory, the legal and regulatory framework. This has been a long time in the making. We're doing it at the OECS level, and the Prime Minister assured me that he's looking to take it to Parliament by the middle of this year, hopefully might go July, August, and we will get these pieces of legislation passed. We've also had an outstanding piece of regulations. We've passed what's called an ICT Fiscal Incentive Act for those persons who want to get into business and want to get their duty free and so forth. We've already passed that, but we need a piece of regulations, and we're also going to get that through by the middle of this year. But that's the legal regulation. We already know in the schools we have immersed our students into ICT with 1 laptop per child, Mr. Duncan there from the NTRC. You know, they've provided broadband to all the schools through the Universal Service Fund. I mean, there's a lot that's happening in the schools at all levels, right up to the community college, as I've mentioned. And the other platform is in government. I mean, there's a major thrust in e-government through an e-grip project, and we're setting up an ICT center right in the ministry. The Taiwanese government is helping us. One of our floors at the ministry is to be totally converted into an e-government center. And that's really the thing. In Ministry of Health, I know we have, you know, our health information system, Secure the World, all these sort of things. There's a lot of things happening, some moving at different paces to the other. And the missing ingredient is how do we engage the private sector to really get on board and really go with the same sort of drive into this area. We were at risk of being left behind. And I'm really happy that the NCTI has taken on this particular task because it is more private sector-like, that it can now engage young, enlightened entrepreneurs with bright ideas and really push them to help them. And through this World Bank facility, what's called the CARSIP project, which you'll be hearing a lot more about. This is just the introduction. You'll be hearing a lot more about the CARSIP project and really what we are going to be able to do with it. And, you know, this is not money that we're going to give people in their hands, but there's going to be certain methods in which we can provide them with the necessary credit to get the tools, equipment, and so to really get their business going, and the technical support and so. So I'm really excited about it. Matter of fact, I'm just about thinking about clapping my hand. What was that clap again? But I've never heard that one before, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to clap my hand. But I think that, you know, it's great that we are on this platform. We're going to have some setbacks. You know, we're going to, every now and again, stump a toe or so. But there is no holding us back. And we're hoping to really engage with a lot of the private sector companies, not only Digicel, Carib Cable, and Lime, but also in relation to this company that you heard about with medical coding, partnerships with companies that are regional and global, and you'll be hearing a lot more about this. So I think that there's some exciting times, and I really want for the young tech-entrepreneurs who have been wondering how the hell they could get something done. Well, I think that the doors are going to be open, the opportunity is going to be there, and we're going to be looking to help you one way or the other if you have that good idea. Thank you very much, Danger.
You know, listening to Mr. Thompson speaking about professors, I failed to introduce myself. My name is Professor Dino Williams, and I'm a tutor at the NCTI. And I now like to call on the individual responsible for the vote of thanks. It's the beautiful Miss Beverly Buchanan, hailing all the way from the marketing department from NCTI.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Beverly Buchanan. I'm the marketing personnel for NCTI. I know we had a very short time in planning this awareness program, and I just want to thank you all for coming out at such short notice. So, Professor, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of NCTI, I am very pleased to thank Mr. Len Sutherland, for our guest speaker from One Tech UK, for his inspiring speech on One Tech this evening. You might say